third loss, fourth loss, fifth loss, and the losses continued. And I almost exhausted 70% of the remainder capital which I had invested in the properties. So whatever remainder was there, 70% of capital was gone. I went back to my parents saying, "Khatam." And my parents said, "Yeah, that's right, you're from a Maharashtrian family, you should do a job somewhere." That was a challenge for me. I said, "No, boss, I will not take this. I'll take this as a challenge. I want to prove myself in the stock market." And one interesting take over here, which I think what my parents did for me was great. First is they did not interfere very much in whatever I wanted to do. That is point number one. Point number two is they had a habit inculcated in me right from my childhood. Now this whatever I'm going to speak now is very important. I had to write a diary every day before I slept. Most of the people write, but this diary is different. Most of the diaries written are what you did today. This is not what I was supposed to write. I was supposed to write what am I going to do tomorrow. And not only tomorrow, not only what I have to do tomorrow, but the reasons why am I going to do. For example, I want to go and have a drink. I have to write why do I want to have a drink today. I want to see a movie. Why do I want to see a movie? So you have to ask yourself as to why am I going to do that. And if you can write why am I going to do it, then you should go and do it. That was the principle right from my school days that my parents had inculcated, which I believe everyone should follow. My kids follow that even today. This is something that, so it's, what happens is because of this is, you are answerable to yourself. You cannot cheat yourself. You can cheat the world, you cannot cheat yourself. The notion behind this theory is you cannot cheat yourself. So, in those bad patches from 93 to 97, 96, 97, what happened was, I lost a good amount of money, but every time what decisions on buy or sell on the charts that I was seeing was written with reasons in these diaries. So 1 year I took a break, and what I did was, I started reading this diary of why I bought and what went wrong on the charts, why I sold and what went wrong on the charts. And this is where the new theory evolved. From 98 onwards, I am extremely proud to say that from 98 onwards, I have not gone wrong in the stock markets. The theory has been altered by me. The reason being, the original theory that you all read in the books over the net, etc., is all written in the 1960s in the US or the Western countries. Now, those theories were built on their experience in the 1960s. Now, what we are doing now is we are reading those theories and applying them in the year 2000. These theories were meant in that age, not this jet age. If you remember, all those people who have been in the stock markets for at least 10 years plus would remember that one sector rallied for almost 4 or 5 years then. Like for example, FMCG from 82 to 95. FMCG sector rallied, but from 95 till date, FMCG is nowhere except for the last 1 year. So the sectors did not change hands or did not move fast in that age, and we started moving very fast these days, and that is where this altered theory came into force, and this theory is working even today.
Yeah, I think it's a very interesting amount of the stuff that you went through before you stumbled upon, right?
Actually.
What is your calling in life? And I don't know if you realize this, but what your parents really taught you is something which Warren Buffett, I know his style of investing is completely opposite to your approach that you do. But I don't know if you know this, but one of his his quotes is that if you want to do something, write it down. If you can't justify it to yourself, then definitely it's not worth doing. So I think your parents really directly, in some fashion or the other, really taught you some of the the fundamental secrets in a way, and I'm glad that that's what's really taken you and brought you here. Let's turn to something in terms of you had this concept, you had this theory which you evolved and you developed. Now, I think you at a juncture decided to put it into a software, and I think you had some very interesting experience at that point of time when you wanted to convert this concept into something that you could take across to a larger number of people. Briefly, would you tell us, what kind of an issue you faced and how did it really impact you?
Right. So what happened was I was successful right through from 98, 99, 2000. All the predictions were right. So my clients, initially I had a sub-broking unit. So my clients were benefiting out of this research work. So these clients asked me as to how do you predict so precisely. And then I said it's so simple, and we used to sit in office after market hours and I used to tell them when to buy, when to sell, what is the theory that I follow. And they in turn they learned this theory and they passed on this to their friends, and suddenly over a period of 6 months there were 10-20 people sitting in my office and I was training them for free. And then I said, why not do this, take this as a business model also. Then I started charging everyone, and this is how the training model came into existence. Now when I was training people, the people in 50s and 60s in a batch, what happened was there were two software guys that happened. Now this is an important take for new entrepreneurs. Two software guys who attended, and they were owners of the software of some software companies. I'm not going to name them. What happened was, though in those days, what used to happen is after this training session, there was a US software because there were no software available in India in those days. So only there was a few, and I used to like one of them, and I used to sell that. Not for my benefit, but people who wanted to have a software had to have some kind of software, and I used to recommend that. Nothing for my personal interest in that. Over a period of time, I had one thing in my mind that I should have a software of my own, but being a commerce background, knowing nothing on the software, it was very difficult. But I had a dream somewhere. So these software guys, these people, they said, why do you sell? We develop this for you. And they became very, very friendly with us. And they said, we'll float a new company by Precision Technicals, we'll float another company, and we agreed to that. Precision Technicals was still there, but we floated another company, and it was a partnership deal. And then they became so friendly that, they said, Kiran, either sign karna, and I used to go and sign, because who's going to read that, the whole agreement, and he was a friend of mine. So I signed across, and what happened was, there's so many things that were written there. And over a period of time, we realized that it was we who was working, and they were taking the whole credit out of it. So I was getting nothing, my partner Mandar Thamsandekar, he was getting nothing, and then it all ended up in a very bad shape, because finally what, if the software has to be sold, the training has to be done. I said, I'm not going to do this if nothing is going to come my way. And then we had to shut down that company. But because of this incident, what happened was, the financial loss that we incurred took us almost 2.5 years back. That is something that entrepreneurs should really understand, that you have a goal in front of you, you have a dream, you believe in someone who becomes so friendly with you, and then you don't really think before you sign. So this is a lesson that I learned because of my mistakes.
Yeah, I think it's a very useful perspective for people to really gain in terms of how do you approach it. You spoke about your co-founder or your partner right now. So I think a lot of startups or a lot of people, when they set up their companies, either to try to go at it alone or they look at it, somebody co-found or partner with. Tell us your perspective on this, and how does your partner really complement, or what do both of you bring to the table?
Yeah, I always felt bad that I'm the only son. I wanted a brother, so that a brother would always help me in my business or something of that sort. So Mandar, who's my partner, he is my friend's friend actually, and we were introduced to each other. He was also having a, what do you say? He wanted to be. He used to like to dabble in the stock market, I should put forward. And that is how we were introduced to each other. And then he learned a lot of technical answers through me. And then we both had some chemistry wherein we thought that we should join hands together. And that is how we joined hands. And today, I'm the face of the company, he is the backbone of the company. That is how we complement each other. He looks after the operations part, everything. I don't look at all. Even if I don't go to office for the next 2 years, it's absolutely fine. My office will be running for sure. For me, I have to go and train people.